In this video, I'm going to be going over some of the most game-changing updates in Ark Survival Evolved. Majority of these are items, but there are a couple relating to creatures, as well as I'm not a PvP player, so there's not going to be like PvP game-changing updates, so that makes sense. So stuff like the mechs, I'm probably not going to include, mainly because I just don't know about it, because I'm not a PvP player. And I'm sure there's going to be tons of updates that I don't have on this list. This isn't trying to be all of them. This is just a few going over. So if you want to comment some ones that I missed, maybe I can make a part 2. But that's going to be it. Let's get into it. And the first one on the list is what I would consider to be the most game-changing update, and it is the cryopods. It came with Extinction, and originally it was only on Extinction, but they made it to where it was available on all maps. If you somehow don't know what cryopods do, basically you can like hold them in your hand, and then you can basically pick up a dinosaur and put it inside the cryopod, and then throw it out wherever you want. Of course, on Ark Ascended you can't do that. You have to be near a cryo station, but even then, it was extremely game-changing. It meant you didn't have to walk your creatures halfway across the map when you tame them. Or if you wanted to get a dino somewhere, like a Rex or something, you didn't have to walk it all the way across the map. You could just cryopod it with you and then throw it out. As well as it made it better for managing dinos for servers, because on servers there would be hundreds of dinos out on people's bases, causing a bunch of lag. But now you could cryopod all of them and have them safely stored, which prevented a lot of lag on servers. Next on the list we have the bolas. The bolas weren't originally in the game when it came out. They were added about a year after the game came out, in May 4th, 2016. And obviously they're insanely useful. You can basically like make a bunch of small or medium-sized dinos completely immobile. You can do this by throwing the bola at them, and then you can tame them by knocking them out, or you can use it to kill them, or if you're just getting attacked by something, you can bola it and get away. Next is one of the few creatures I have on this list, and I don't have many creatures, and I could probably include more, but this is one of the most game-changing ones in my opinion, and it is the RG TLC. Originally, the RG was actually pretty good, and it was a very useful creature, but when they added the TLC update for it, it just made it insanely useful. Basically, it had weight reductions on pretty much every item in the game now, like metal, crystal, obsidian, not every item, but all the good ones anyway. As well as it just had tons of weight and stamina, basically making it the go-to flyer for anything in the game, as well as you can pick up large or medium-sized dinos now. And then we have the tech tier, mainly the tech armor, but it was added on January 30th, 2017. Now before this, there were absolutely no tech items in the game, and once they did add the tech items, it obviously changed the game quite a bit, because they are very powerful. And it was some controversial to a lot of people because they thought that the tech tier strayed too far from the game. I personally don't mind the tech tier, of course, as if it is like extremely hard to get, like fighting bosses and stuff to earn it. If you get it like immediately, like on Gen 2, where you just spawn with it, I don't think it's that good because it kind of defeats the purpose and makes it really easy. But if tech tier is like locked behind boss fights and stuff, I think that definitely makes it worth it in the game. And I do like it when it's like that. But tech tier overall is obviously game changing. You could fly around with a jetpack, run at super speed, just do all kinds of crazy stuff. Next on the list we have is breeding. Breeding is obviously a huge part of the game now, but it wasn't originally in Ark, and it was added pretty early on, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, breeding definitely changed the game a lot, but when it was first added, you couldn't get mutations and you couldn't imprint. Those would be added later, but those would make it even more game-changing, and the huge crucial part of the game that it is today. Next on the list is a bit of a smaller one, but I thought I would include it because it did change the game quite a bit in the early days. I don't think it's as crucial now, but grappling hooks basically made it to where you could grapple areas, pulling yourself towards them, which would be great for like doing cave runs and stuff. You could just skip over entire areas, which obviously is super useful. This next one was added in more recent years, and this is the net projectile. This one is definitely game changing, as it's like the bola but on complete steroids, which of course the bola is also on this list. You can net medium to large sized dinos with it, which is absolutely ridiculous. Basically up to the size of a mammoth, making this thing really overpowered. You can't deny the fact that it's completely game changing. Being able to net something like a mammoth and then just kill it or knock it out that easily is definitely worthy of being on this list. But after the net projectile is the egg of incubator, added in the same update, the Genesis Part 2 DLC. This one is more of a quality of life one, but I definitely think it's worth being on here because it is super useful. Basically, you can put all your eggs in here and it'll allow them to hatch. I mean, pretty simple, but very, very useful, making it way better than just throwing them on the ground next to an air conditioner. You can actually control all of them being hatched and hatch them whenever you want. Next is the mining drill. This one basically changed the way that you would go mining, because now you could just use gasoline with this thing and get a ton of metal and stone, and it would do a huge weight reduction on it. So you basically didn't even need a dinosaur anymore. You could just go around with this thing and harvest as much resources as you possibly needed. And it's personally one of my favorites because I always use the mining drill. And finally, we have another creature, and this one is the Sinomacrops. This shoulder pet is probably one of the most game-changing shoulder pets in the entire game, because it basically made you a jetpack. It was like a mini tech suit, but you didn't even have to get a tech suit. You just tamed this thing, because you could float up in the air, you could glide around. Obviously, it's not as good as a tech suit. You can't like fly around like a jetpack, but you can basically like glide around up. Completely changes the way you move, and when you get it on Lost Island, but it's exclusive to Lost Island. That is the only problem with it. It's not really a problem, it's just it's exclusive to that map. But of course, it is really good. It basically changes everything. That's going to be it for this video. If you guys did enjoy, make sure to leave a like and also subscribe. Thanks for watching, and bye.